The sun was a big orange eye peeking over the tall, dry grass of the African savanna. Dust devils danced like playful spirits, and the air hummed with the buzzing of sleepy insects. But in the heart of this beautiful, wild place, a big worry was growing. It was about a lion named Juma, and he was not having a good day. Juma wasn't just any lion. He was the biggest, strongest lion in the whole land. His roar could shake the leaves off trees, and his paws were as big as dinner plates. But Juma was also, let's just say, not the smartest lion. He mostly used his muscles to get what he wanted, and he usually wanted a big, juicy meal. For days, Juma had been hunting. He'd chased zebras, startled gazelles, and even tried, and failed, to grab a grumpy warthog. But each time, the animals were just too fast, or too clever. Now, Juma was sitting under a baobab tree, his brow wrinkled with frustration. His tummy was rumbling like a thunderstorm, and he was grumpy and hungry. "This is not fair," he grumbled, his voice like rocks tumbling down a hill. "Why can't I catch anything? I'm the king of the savannah, for goodness sake." He swatted his tail against the ground, making a puff of dust. He looked around with his big, golden eyes, trying to spot any unlucky creature that might wander into his reach. But nothing. The savannah seemed empty. Just as Juma was about to give up and take a nap, he saw a small, brown figure hopping towards him. It was Kadogo, a rabbit. Kadogo was small, and his fur was the color of dried earth. But what Kadogo lacked in size, he made up for in brains. He was the cleverest rabbit in the savannah, known for his wit and his knack for getting out of trouble. Kadogo saw the angry lion from a distance. He knew his little heart was thumping like a drum. But he took a deep breath and remembered his grandma's words. A clever mind can outwit even the strongest claws. He hopped a bit closer, making sure Juma saw him. Juma's eyes lit up like a campfire. "Aha!" he roared, his lips curling back to show his sharp teeth. "Finally! Breakfast!" He stood up, muscles tensed, ready to pounce. Kadogo didn't run. Instead, he sat down in front of the lion, his nose twitching. "Good day to you, mighty Juma," he said, his voice surprisingly calm. Juma paused, confused. "Good day? I'm about to eat you. What are you talking about?" Kadogo flicked his ear and said, "Well, I was on my way to see the other animals and warn them about something." "Warn them about what?" Juma asked, lowering his body slightly. He was surprised that Kadogo didn't run away. He thought maybe he will get a little information before eating him. Kadogo pretended to look around nervously. "Well," he began in a lower voice, "it's a bit of a secret. But there's another lion, a much, much bigger lion. And he says he is the king." Juma's eyes widened. "A bigger lion? Impossible." He puffed out his chest, feeling very angry. How dare another lion claim to be king when he was the real king here? "It's true," Kadogo insisted. "He's got bigger teeth, and his roar is louder. He said he's going to take over the savannah and rule over all the animals, including you." Juma growled, feeling his pride hurt. "Nobody can take my place. Where is this other lion? I'll show him who the real king is." Kadogo pretended to think for a moment. "Well, he's living over by the long water hole. He likes to look at his reflection there." Juma was furious. He couldn't believe that another lion would try to take his place. He was so focused on this idea that he forgot about his hunger and the rabbit in front of him. "Take me there," Juma demanded, his eyes blazing. "I will teach that other lion a lesson he will never forget." Kadogo swallowed hard, but he tried to look brave. "Okay, mighty Juma, follow me." He hopped off, leading Juma towards the long waterhole. Juma, full of anger, stomped behind him, making the ground tremble. He never stopped to think that a clever rabbit was leading him where he needed to go. When they reached the waterhole, Juma saw his own reflection staring back at him. The water was still and clear, making his image look bigger and fiercer. Juma roared, "Who is that imposter trying to look like the king of the savannah?" He was shouting at his own reflection, not realizing who he was looking at. Kadogo, hiding behind a tall clump of grass, giggled quietly. It was working. This clever plan was working. Juma continued to roar and growl at his reflection. He thought that another lion was challenging him, so he did everything he could to look bigger and scarier. He pushed his chest out, his mane looked like a halo around his head, and he even pawed at the bank of the waterhole. Kadogo watched him for a while and knew it was time to finish his plan. He hopped out of his hiding place and in a clear voice he said, "Mighty Juma, that other lion is very strong and he will not give up his claim to the throne. Many animals have pledged their loyalty to him already. I think you should leave the savannah before he defeats you. Juma was looking at himself, and the way he looked made him believe he was the other lion. He had forgotten all about the clever rabbit behind him. He looked at the water reflection and thought about the words of the rabbit. He was very scared of losing his claim as the king of the savannah. He knew he had to leave, and leave very quickly. Juma ran without even looking back to thank the rabbit for telling him about the other lion. He ran past the trees, he ran through the grass, and never stopped until he was very far away. Kadogo watched him go, a smile spreading across his face. He had done it! He had outsmarted the mighty Juma and saved himself from becoming the lion's lunch. He hopped back towards his burrow, feeling very pleased with himself. He knew that Juma wouldn't be back anytime soon, not after the fright he had. He knew that his friends would be safe for some time too. From that day on, the animals of the savannah respected Kadogo even more. They knew that even the smallest creature could be a hero if they were clever. And Juma? Well, he learned a valuable lesson that day. He learned that being big and strong wasn't everything. Sometimes, a little bit of brain power was much more important. And he also learned that not everyone who came to his attention was a treat. Some were smart and very tricky. And so, the savannah went back to its peaceful ways. The sun rose each day, the grass grew tall and green, and the animals lived together, knowing that even the smallest among them had the power to bring about a change. And Kadogo? He continued to be the clever rabbit of the savannah, always ready with a wit and a plan, proving that brains could be just as powerful as brawn.